anytime you look at how a suspect decides to commit a crime, you realize that there are lots of choices they could make. And what they chose in the end is powerful because it tells me something about who they are. Even word choice. If I ask you questions and you choose certain words, it means you actually have to intentionally not select other words. So when I'm looking at the evidence in the universe, I'm looking at we are in a universe that seems to be uniquely fine-tuned to create life. And the parameters are such a fine edge. All the universal constants are on such a fine edge that the odds of us getting here, of being here to have this conversation, are so remote. We used to think, well, gosh, there's enough planets in the universe to sure, there must be some other life forms in the universe. But when you start to see how improbable all these universal constants and even the parameters for a world that's close enough to the sun, but not too far away, not too close, and what the tectonic plates, all the parameters for not just the universe, but for galaxies in the universe, and for systems within galaxies, and for planets within the systems, are so fine-tuned and are so impossibly fine-edged that there may not be enough planets in the entire universe to sustain another planet with life. This is a very unique set of circumstances that comes together and produces life on planet Earth. And so there's something about that goal direction. What's the point of all this? We got to this point, here we are. Are we just there's two ways of looking at this. One, we are in a tremendous, fortunate accident. Oh my gosh, just a crazy odds of this happening, in which case everything is meaningless. And now, I am not a believer because I want meaning. That's not what drives my investigation. As an atheist, I couldn't care less if there was meaning in the universe or meaning in my own life. I can create my own meaning. So I don't need to have purpose drive me. But what I see instead are the fine-tuned parameters that just a small fraction in any direction off this fine-tuning means we don't have a universe that has life in it. We happen to be in this kind of fine-tuned universe. And that tells me something about the Creator. He seems to be goal-directed. This universe could have been different. Our situation could have been different. The fact that it isn't, we seem to be angling towards some purpose. There's some reason why we're here. Now, again, that's not what drives me to do this. But if you see evidence at a crime scene of intelligence, a note that's left behind, if you see things set up in a certain way, so when the victim walked in the room, it just had to happen that way, there was no other choice. When you start to see that kind of advanced plan that leads to an inevitable conclusion, you start to think your suspect's got something in mind. You start to think your suspect's actually planned this in advance. And something similar, I think, happens when you examine the universe.